I'm John from DempseyJ Illustrations, and on this week's episode I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 tips to take your illustrations from this to this. So don't forget to smash that like button and let's get started. So my first top tip is to take a step back. Now this is the tip that I found the hardest to do to start with, because when you start a piece of art, if you're like me and you love art, you love illustration, you just want to continue, you just want to complete it, and you just want to see the final product and see your artwork come to life. But a lot of the time, this can actually be a bit of a weakness in illustrators and artists alike. A good technique is to just take a step back. If you're feeling a bit tired, if you're got to a certain point and you want to then slow it down, you want to take a bit more time on the piece, you could be blocked on something. Taking that little bit of time to just take a step back, do something different, recharge the batteries, will work wonders for your art. And I guarantee you will see the results and you will be rewarded for your efforts for that little bit of longer working on the illustration. But taking that time to take a step back, take a break, is probably my top tip to improving your art. My next tip is to find an artist or illustrator that inspires you and study their artwork. Not copy it, but study it. Have a look at the techniques that they're doing. Have a look at what methods or what processes they do. A lot of artists and illustrators will have videos on YouTube similar to this one, which will show you how to improve your art. It'll give you tips on techniques you can use, and I'll be doing some more videos later on with the techniques and the processes that I use for my art. But it is a good idea to find someone that inspires you, find somebody whose art you want to reach that level on, and to just study it. Go back to the basics, see how the composition of the piece is done, see how they build the artwork up. A lot of time between the 3 months that I did from my Android 21 remake video, which I will put a link here. That actually had me watching YouTube videos and studying tutorial processes and that from other artists who I was inspired by, who motivate me, and who I want to reach a certain standard of art at, to be equal to, and even one day surpass. So my next tip is lighting and shadows. And this is a subject that even I found tricky to start with, but hopefully by explaining a bit of my process and a little bit about it, you'll find it easier as well. So the first thing to do is, once you have your line art complete, solid fill it with a grey colour, or a solid colour of your choice. I prefer a lightish grey, not too light but not too dark. Your next step is to create a brand new layer and set that to multiply with the original grey colour or colour you selected as your fill colour. Start painting in the shadows using a soft airbrush. The whole reason for this is, if you start painting in the shadows and it's got that gradient feel of soft airbrush, as long as you know the direction your light's coming from, you can then make sure that your shadows are in the right place. We're not too worried about dark and darker accents for the shadows. We just want the mid-range shadows, so we just want to give a bit of a three-dimensional shape, a bit of personality and solidness to your character or your illustration subject. Once you are happy with the shadows and you've got them in place, the next step would be to create another layer on top of that and set it to be a soft light layer with a white fill colour. Fill the highlight areas in on this layer. The whole reason for splitting the layers is that you can then erase parts if you don't think that they should be there, and you won't have to rework a lot of blending and a lot of shading. You can actually keep them separate layers, but by using an airbrush type tool, you'll be able to then have that natural blending effect. Once you've got these 2 layers in place, then it's far easier to add your darker accents to emphasize darker areas where there might not be a lot of light, or your lighter accents, whether it be highlights or rim lighting. My next tip and it's one that a lot of illustrators, a lot of artists are afraid to do. And in some respects, it's easier when you're a child because you've just got that cavalier attitude. It's to experiment and have fun. Don't be afraid, whether your medium's traditional or digital, to try out new techniques, try out new mediums, try out new brushes, experiment, have a play, see what works for you. If you've seen an illustrator or an artist you like online and you've seen a how-to video and you think, oh, I fancy giving that a go, give it a go. See how it fits into your style of artwork, to your drawing, and see how it can help you take yourself to the next level. And my final tip is to pick a subject or a character or a theme for your art, your illustration, that you like or you love. Pick something you're interested in, that you enjoy. If you're trying new techniques and you're trying to improve your art on a subject that you enjoy, or an illustration, or anything, be it anime, basketball, animals, drawing portraits of people, anything, as long as you enjoy it, all the techniques, all the time you spend on it will all sink in. You'll spend that extra time for attention to detail. You'll go through all the tips I've given you in this video and you just apply them piece by piece and you'll remember them more. If you're doing something you love, if you're doing something that you enjoy, you tend to absorb the information more, you tend to pay more attention to it, and it tends to last with you for longer. So, those are my top 5 tips of how I went from this to this in just 3 months. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more videos, how-tos, tips and hints, as well as the weekly illustrations throughout the year, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a post. Next week, I will be going through how to create an original character using the character design and brief from my son. He's created his own original character, and I look forward to you joining me on the journey of bringing it to life.